Alright, so this happened when I was like 19 years old. I had just graduated high school, and I was working on a fishing boat out of Gloucester, Massachusetts. It was called the Yankee Patriot. We did daily fishing charters, and we also did some research stuff for the National Marine Fisheries Service. Anyway, one night we got a call from the fisheries people. They wanted us to go out into the middle of nowhere and collect some fish larvae samples. We left port around 3 p.m. and we were out there until 10 p.m. So we're trolling around in this little boat, which is like 35 feet long, looking for these little baby fish. And our captain at the time, he's a pretty seasoned fisherman, he knows what he's doing, and he says, "Hey, why don't we head over to this island? They call it the Finger Island because it kind of looks like a finger. It's like 3 miles off the coast." He goes, "Let's see if we can find anything there." So we head over to this island, and as soon as we get close to it, we realize there's a bunch of lobster traps surrounding the island. So our captain calls up the local harbor master and he's like, "Hey, is anybody fishing around the Finger Island?" And he's like, "No, nobody fishes there anymore. There's an old legend that there's a big-ass squid that lives there and it eats everything." He's like, "People used to fish there all the time with big nets, and they would go missing or their boats would get destroyed, so everybody stopped fishing there." Now, as we're talking to the harbor master, my buddy who was on deck with me, he sees something huge in the water. He yells down to the captain, "You gotta come see this." The captain comes up on deck and we start seeing this giant shape in the water. Now, mind you, this thing is like 60 feet below the surface. We can see it just barely under the surface. It's too dark to make out any details. All we can tell is that it's huge, like the size of a school bus, and it's kind of oval-shaped. The captain immediately kills the motor. He gets down on the radio and he's like, "This is Yankee Patriot. We have a possible whale sighting. It's a giant, like 40, 50 feet in length. I don't know what it is. Please respond." And we waited and we never got a response. We decided to go closer. We inched forward and the only light we had was a little 25-watt bulb hanging off the sugar scoop of the boat. We turned that light towards the shape in the water, and as we shined the light on it, it reveals itself to be a gigantic mass of tentacles. It was like 60 feet long and it was completely round like a sphere. And there were tentacles everywhere. They were massive. Some of them were thicker than my leg. They were wrapped around each other and they were moving. They were undulating in the current. It was like nothing I had ever seen before. My buddy and I, we grab onto each other and we're screaming at the top of our lungs. We're praying. I don't even know what I was praying to. I was just like, "God, please help us." And as we're sitting there, the captain turns around. He looks at us. His face is white as a sheet and he starts screaming at the top of his lungs, "Holy F!" And he runs down below deck. So my buddy and I, we sit there for a second and we hear this loud-ass suction noise, like a giant sucking noise, and the line holding the trapdoor to the fish hold, it rips off its hinges and the trapdoor opens and it slams shut. Then we hear a loud boom and the floor collapses and the captain falls through. My buddy and I immediately climb down into the fish hold and we try to pull the captain out, but he disappears into the floor and we couldn't get him out. My buddy and I run up on deck, we jump into the back of the boat, we start the engine and we speed away from the island as fast as we possibly can. As we're running away, we keep glancing back over our shoulder and we're watching this giant thing recede into the distance, and all of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, I see something flying through the air. It was like a big-ass rope and it was flying directly towards us. So I yell at my buddy, "Get down." And we both hit the deck as this giant rope flies across the boat. It misses us by like 10 feet and it lands in the ocean behind us. My buddy and I look at each other. We don't say a word. We just turn the boat around and we head back to shore as fast as we possibly can. Once we get back to shore, we call the Coast Guard and we tell them what happened and they laugh at us. They're like, "Yeah, okay, thanks for calling," and they hang up. We go back to the dock and everybody starts asking us what happened. We tell them and they're like, "Yeah, right." So we go to bed that night and we wake up the next morning. And the first thing we do is look out into the ocean and we see this giant rope washed up on shore. It was like 8 inches thick and it was over a mile long. We didn't touch it. We took a few pictures and we got the hell out of there. That night, when I was trying to sleep, I heard a loud knocking sound. It sounded like somebody was knocking the side of my house. I looked out my window and I saw this giant squid. It was like 12 feet long and it was banging its body against the window. Every time it banged its body against the window, I could feel the house shake. It kept banging and banging and banging until I blacked out from fear. When I woke up, I looked outside and it was gone. I never told anyone that I saw the squid outside my house, but about 2 weeks later, there was a news report about a giant squid washed up on shore. It was the same day that this thing banged on my house. About 6 months after the incident with the squid, we went back out to that island with the Coast Guard to try to find the captain. We never found his body. And to this day, I don't know what that thing was. But whatever it was, it ate the captain and it's still out there. That's one scary motherfucking story. What the hell was that thing? Was it a squid? Was it a whale? I don't know. Thank you guys so much for listening and I will catch you on the next one. Goodbye.